story, I just more and more. I don't know how to make out of it. You need any food?
Oh no, I just went and got some.
All right.
I mean, here, let me share one of the images I took earlier, just to kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. This was just down the street from Paywall, Power Street in Vespucci.
Okay. Let me see.
You can see a vehicle that's flipped over. That's the trainer's vehicle, surrounded by the trainees. After they had, I saw the chase go by, heard the call out of the wreck, and was just kind of looking at it, going, "What the hell is going on here?" So I started looking a little more, and there was 2 concurrent training chases going on through Rockford Hills, Legion Square, like the major populated areas. And I was like, well, maybe they don't have a place to train. But then they all went back up to Fort Zancudo to practice doing traffic stops.
Interesting. Is this an academy or is it pursuit training?
This is LSPD Day 2 Academy. These are people who have been on the job for 2 days.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I was asking around the station, is this like, hey, is this a normal occurrence? Like, what are y'all doing? And BCSO said, well, we're not allowed to come down here and do any kind of training like that. But LSPD routinely just kind of runs chases around the city, which I have a concern for public safety.
Who told you that?
I'm trying to remember who I was in the room. Honestly, I can't 100% remember
command?
exactly who. They had 1 stripe on their sleeve, so probably just a senior.
Oh, 1 stripe. That is very strange. That seems like a bit of a brush off because that definitely happens by both departments.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
That's kind of the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
But that was just my concern point of trying to figure out, like, because let's be honest, if they're doing this and while I was observing
cause a
them,
casualty, right?
Yeah, and they were not moving at, road speed, so it's disregard of all traffic safety and law to begin with. And then also you have, because I got the plate read off the vehicle they were chasing, and the vehicle that slipped over there belongs to Senior Officer V. Gray, who I believe I photographed there, as they were tackling and horsing around the car. Like, I understand it. We did pursuit training, but we would do it in the middle of nowhere where you're not going to risk, hitting somebody.
I think I'm of the opinion, because I know vaguely about this, but looking at this photo and whatnot, I think it happens so rarely. I feel like this is something that's been skirted, right? Like it's happened, but no one's kind of made notice, right? Yeah. And as you know, with every, for a lot of people, they may feel subjugated to the whims of people. Like, what are you going to do? Question it? You know what I mean? Just accept it. Yeah. So I'm glad you pointed this out. I think, personally, I think something should be legislated around this because law enforcement agencies are not like exempt from the law, right?
Yeah. Well, I believe Andy tried doing something like that for Sandy, and it got pushed back on, and it did not pass way back when. That's what I was curious. I didn't know if there was any kind of exceptions or any permissions made. Yeah, because she wanted to allow times for Sandy to be like cordoned off to do training.
Yeah, that's a bigger. Yeah. I mean, I am of the personal opinion that the bar doesn't need to be really high due to the nature of San Andreas, but there should be something in place that sort of covers it, and specifically, there's funny enough, there is a standard for the sanctioned races, right? And part of that
made me want to ask and reach out, because I know y'all have found the way to legally allow those to be done in a relatively safe manner.
Yes, it requires the track information to be available so that EMS is aware, law enforcement's aware. There needs to be a notice put out. I think with PD, the standard has to be a bit higher, in fact, given, the nature of their job. And I wish they had access. I wish, personally, members of, like, high command had some level of access to state announcements, and they could put out, like, something like, hey, this area is going to be utilized for training. Like, number one, legislation. Number two, they had some kind of way to let people know something was happening. Now, I will say that I get it. Sometimes people say announcements like, hey, prison's being broken into, and they come, but that's their own prerogative at that point. I think for public
at that point, you can't control what people will do. But if you make people aware of it, there's that element of, hey, we tried to make you aware there was something going on here.
I agree. I think we should have a conversation with the chief, personally, and or whomever the PNT is, or whomever, and we should probably get something drafted. I would probably, what we could do is like put it into like traffic ordinances or something along those lines, so that there is some kind of bare minimum procedure, right? Because there's the other factor of this, right, is that this would prevent, say,
to give you an idea, the radio comm was just hard 50. The cars went off a bridge, and they're on Upper La Puerta Freeway, and I believe they might have just knocked one of their colleagues off the bridge, or a random person off of the bridge.
Yeah, I think due to the nature of the limitations that do exist, I do think that the bar doesn't need to be really high, but I think where it should be high is the notification of it. And specifically, as an example, let's say I had a corrupt bone in my body as law enforcement, maybe, like to drive my interceptor around and escalate things, and I decide that I like to drive around at 200 miles an hour, right, with my friends. And, Marshal pulls them over, like, what the fuck are you doing? Or let's say, God forbid, they hit somebody, right? And they say, oh, we were training.
Is training exercise going to be the new lights and sirens?
Exactly that. And as much as this might sound like just a hypothetical, I don't think it is.
I've had, while in my vehicle, have had officers scream past me going those speeds through populated areas. So I don't believe that is that far off.
Yeah. Yep. Sorry, ma'am. I don't think we've met before.
We've met before, Nino.
Oh, wait. Who is this?
Well, I used to be Dr. Bordier. Now I'm Marshal Bordier.
Oh, shit. Congratulations.
Thank you. I was tired of all the stuff down at CMC, and the prison was absolutely atrocious. I got accused of trying to overthrow Scotty because he didn't know what he was doing.
Jesus.
And so I got attacked in the yard, actually. Was in the ICU for a couple months and figured this is the best place.
Okay.
To fix all the issues.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's good.
I think Barrett said he spoke with you earlier on some things. Trained to the docket.
Yes, I, believe it or not, spent an hour and a half going through it. I don't know. I'm addicted to reading court cases and reports. Yeah, we hit on a number of things. There's a lot that needs fixing, and it's good that there's a lot of eyes on a lot of these major issues.
I have an investigation that I am near the end of completion, and when that one does come out, I believe it is going to be a doozy of a read.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, things are moving.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
If there's anything you need as you're going through, I don't know if there's a debate scheduled yet or not, but if there's any security stuff that's needed, I'm sure we can try to muster up to, have bodies to help out with that if need be.
That would be absolutely fantastic. I wish there was a debate, but one wasn't scheduled. The closest thing to one was Princess set one up for Blaine County. And, but yeah, no, honestly, for this election, there was just one state announcement. It was like, felt like half of a sentence. So like polls open. Like, oh, okay. What the fuck? All right. I guess. Yeah. You know, I don't know. Maybe they're pissed about all the audits I sent out, which by the way, went real well.
That's good.
Yeah. We have some really amazing things planned for legislation in the next, I'm hoping 1 month time span. To give you a bit of a preview, way too many pieces of legislation, way too unorganized, impossible to reference, and we're, at least for Los Santos County and hopefully with the Blaine County mayor, we want to reduce it down to say like 20 and have them be more along the lines of criminal codes, such that, let's say you go into criminal code robberies, right? Instead of there being all this random stuff, it lays out, why are robberies bad? Well, how does it affect people, right? Constitutionally, right to, property, and then sort of lays things out in a meaningful way. So a lot of these, let's say 5 pieces of legislation can now kind of have one home with referenceable line items. Like, so you could be like, oh, this guy, law enforcement is doing training. So if you look at traffic ordinances, Article 5, Section 3, it shows police department is able to, ignore for pursuit training, but must follow the following steps. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, as somebody who was in the garage of MRPD on July 3rd, I'm a firm believer that the more clear and more transparent it can be for folks to understand the law from all sides is a good thing.
Absolutely agreed. Yeah.
And accountability is important.
Yep. Very much so. Is there what about y'all? Do you have any questions for me, whether it's the campaign, things in general, or whatever it may be?
I mean, I spend most of my time up in Blaine County. The city stuff, I come down here for work and whatnot, so I'm kind of out of the loop.
There you go.
You got me. I definitely am a reader. I do enjoy.
What's this?
It's
Nino number 4.
I'm just gonna be honest. Just this cover page alone, whoever put that together, give them a raise.
Yeah, it's not bad. So
better be careful putting a snake on here. People gonna think you joined Hydra.
No. It's in reference to a recent legislative authority meeting.
Oh, you got a lot of snakes?
I think somewhat worse. I wouldn't have put a snake there. I think I would have put something else. Like
a rat?
Yeah, a weasel. I think weasel would work a little bit better. Yeah. But I think a lot of the problems that my office is looking to tackle, and what I've been trying to tell folks is this election is not just about the counties. It's about San Andreas. And in particular, to your point of transparency, is at a high level, a lot of things have gone into place that go against the Constitution, did not pass proper legislative channels. And we want to sort of we've already brought those things to light, but we want to make things understandable for all parties. So so that the people know what is and is not illegal. Law enforcement have a clearer understanding of what is and is not legal for their day-to-day job. And we don't end up in court cases where a lot of arguments seemingly boil down to what is my interpretation of what this word means, right? But rather the nature of, is there evidence? Is there doubt? Not doubt in what, what the word, what's that popular one? It's under. the use of a firearm is intended to imply. You know what I mean?
Use of a firearm would generally be any, I wouldn't say brandishing, but would either be discharging or, if you pistol whip somebody, you were technically using it, but not in the method of a firearm.
Yes.
It would be more as a melee blunt object weaponry.
Yes.
But brandishing is not necessarily using a firearm, it's just holding one.
I 1,000% agree with you. The funny thing is, unfortunately, well, I mean, right. And unfortunately, that phrase has been utilized to mean, did you have one on you? Right? So
that's not what that means. That's possession. That's not use. You can possess something and not use it.
Yep.
Right?
It's
okay, most of the people in this state, that's what I was going for.
Yep.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah, no, it's as much as I hate to say it, a lot of those are 50% of my battles. Is there's like orthodox reading of, the English and English language and the grammatics, but what as often we're finding is people utilizing the unorthodox, hyper unconventional meaning being found in legal sentences in order to justify a preconceived disposition, right? So I know someone did this. I want to hit him with this. How do I make this sentence make it seem like I'm doing the right thing?
It's funny you say that, because as I'm digging through some things right now, that is the exact mindset that I'm running into. Is at some point along the way, folks have taken the investigative curiosity and set it aside for, I know where B is, I know where A is, but I got to get to B. Not, it's instead of asking, well, what in the hell happened here? It is, how do I make this look like this is what happened here?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, I've in the last 48 hours, I have been coming up against that left and right, and it is blatantly obvious at times, looking into some things, that it has just kind of become the norm.
I couldn't agree more. And the dangerous thing about that sort of way of thinking is when you've convinced yourself that that it's only point A and point B, and you're trying to get from A to B, like you said, is that it may turn out that destination you were aiming for was never the right one to begin with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. Like I said, just wait for this investigation to come to light.
Oh boy, I'm excited. One thing I will point out, and I think that I wanted to bring this up to Barrett, but I read through all the reports there on that case. There is a possibility, and once again, bear in mind,
I'm gonna say something. Are you talking about the reports that are on the docket or all the reports?
Oh no, the ones on the docket.
Like I said.
Yeah.
Boy. Wait.
It has been a long 2 days.
What? Okay. Well then, I'll hold my thoughts till then, I guess. Yep. All right. Well, shit.
Nino, I do have a question for you, because
Sure.
you were sitting mayor at the time. When this whole fever situation popped out with the plague and all of that, was a state of emergency ever considered by you or by the medical authorities?
Oh boy, you're not gonna like this answer, but
Okay.
I always say my truth, right? And I don't mind it being challenged or whatever, but this is what I perceived. The virus was something that I was only hearing about. In fact, it took forever until the Marshals actually let myself and Mumbles become aware of it. I think some of this was because, the mayors are criminals narrative, right? That we had to battle against for some time. Luckily, I think as Barrett and Doc took the helm, they began with the disposition of, listen, They're the elected mayors. We can't just think worst case scenario. And they opened up. And from there came a meeting, eventually some document, classified, providing some information, which even now I don't know how much I will openly go into. Who knows if anyone's listening. But then things became a shit show. Not because of the marshals or because of the officers, but what transpired is internally in that meeting room, we knew this was a serious threat. However, not a day later, there were citizens, some of whom were members of government, who, knowing some of this information, were actively seeking suspects and actively self-investigating these things. And in turn, that information was being passed around. So what was contained in that book, became like a 1% slice of what non-law enforcement was actively seeking. So that immediately became like a red flag for me, right? Because why aren't those people not being brought in? That's crazy, right? The second thing was, and I'm just going to be frank here, members of law enforcement that consider themselves detectives, whatever that means, were actively also seeking these things out outside of any orthodox means, right? And I know this because it came to light that the Marshals had their investigation. Some LSPD had their investigation. I think they were working with the Marshals. Then BCSO were doing their own thing. And some of them were intentionally not sharing, to the extent that most recently came to light that members of law enforcement had antidotes and they were self-medicating it and did not even let the Marshals know. This is actually a major shock to Dark at the latest meeting we had like 2-3 weeks ago. So that was a big WTF. So I know the question was about, the state of emergency, but we couldn't even, my office was definitely pressing for that, hey, we need to put out a state of emergency if there's an outbreak. But the pushback in lieu of all these things was, well, we can't do that because people are going to panic. But I was like, well, if it's out there, people are going to die, right?
So that was my question for you. But also, did the medical authority, because outside of the Marshals, outside of law enforcement as a whole, right? Nobody who at that time held a badge, to my knowledge, had medical training. I might be the only one currently who holds a badge who has any prior medical training. So they cannot necessarily denote what is or isn't a medical state of emergency. So that would have fallen on the medical authorities to go, hey, this is a highly contagious virus. And I've been told that they said, hey, you should not be around. You're contagious for XYZ amount of hours, so don't be around people. But then they're giving that knowledge to individuals without containing them or forcing them into any type of situation where they can be quarantined, who are now out and around basically walking bombs. So the medical authority should have, upon noticing there's a highly contagious thing, if not a state of emergency, at least put quarantine or medical holds on those individuals to not create it into the current situation.
I agree.
Was
absolutely.
that ever discussed with you?
Yes. So, and excuse me for giving like perhaps irrelevant context, but I'm doing it just in case, is that before this black vein fever or whatever, there was a black ooze 8 months ago over at Humane Labs. Apparently, from my understanding, a week or two before some other stuff happened, possibly related to this virus. And at the time, we had been alerted as a consequence of people that called me as a mayor saying, hey, there's some shit going on at Humane Labs, 911s that were coming, and apparently some people outbreaking. As a consequence of that, I passed an emergency legislation called the SEMA Act, which allowed at least Los Santos County to be able to declare a state of emergency and have quarantine areas for medical quarantine, right? And it could be designated by medical and by law enforcement, like down at the Russian dock, so away from population, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, that was then, I think either Pred at the time or Mumbles at the time co-signed it when Black Vein Fever started kicking off even higher. However, it wasn't ever utilized. And it wasn't utilized in any meaningful manner because a state of emergency definitely needs to be announced, right? And that announcement should contain in it not just the restrictions, but also what to do in those cases and what you legally need to do in those cases. I believe it may have happened for one singular day, if I'm not mistaken, like some small outbreak, but after that it didn't. In fact, Ember Quinn, as an example, or Ember something, one of the clowns,
Quinn, yeah.
She had it. They didn't keep her at the hospital. They didn't contact law enforcement. And when I asked, like, what do you mean she's out and about giving people the plague? And they're like, well, legally we can't keep her. Legally it's a choice. And I nearly lost my mind. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like you said, she was a biological weapon at this point. And
at that point, they don't have that right to stay or go.
Yes.
When right in this moment, they are putting other people's lives at risk. And that becomes more of a law enforcement type matter because now she herself is a weapon.
Agreed.
And I have heard rumors that individuals are trying to charge individuals who went out willingly and left the hospital willingly and infected other individuals, and the potential of charging them with biological attacks and making them a terrorist, which I can kind of see, but at the same time, that responsibility falls on the hospital for allowing them to leave. That is not on the individual. Their state of mind is altered because 1, they are sick, 2, they might have already been altered, and now you have given information that they can then hurt other individuals. Of course they're going to do it if they're already in that state of mind. The hospital's at fault, not the individual.
We are absolutely on the same page. I will say that I sat in a room of many individuals, and that sort of argument that I was trying to produce kind of fell on deaf ears. I will say, in defense of the Sama head, Perry, Sama's in a bit of a very weird situation. While she is the medical legislative authority, and one may read her authority in the Constitution to mean that part of her oversight includes making sure that individuals are empowered legally to be able to make those decisions. Unfortunately, there's sort of this, and this is a bit of a joke, there's a shadow board of directors that actually makes all the decisions.
Yes.
And she's sort of at their whim. So as a consequence of that, there was a lot of bizarre things happening, like the chief of EMS quarantining the entire hospital at one point. I think that's since been resolved. There's a whole thing where the PD was trying to subjugate on that. There's a lot of just unknown gray area. No one knows who's going to take the reins sort of situation. So it sort of fell into this void of like, while I'm in agreement, who do we go after? Perry can't do anything. She's being told no, right? The board is, I don't even know how to reach them. Actually, I do.
The board,
but
as of at least when I worked there, was Derek, Philippa Cantor, and then Pixie. And those 3 made all decisions for the hospital. And even when Cantor was Sama, she had that joint responsibility and authorities because she was on the board as well as Sama. And it became a thing where Sama doesn't actually have control over the hospital. They're like a figurehead to do the duties of the board who doesn't ever wake up.
Yeah, I will say that I hit up Derek and he said he'd be available for particulars, but it creates that challenge, right? Is what happens if today there's an outbreak and today we need to make a very important decision? Harry's going to feel helpless and the board may not get back to us in like 48 hours, right? And now everyone's dead. So
why on the governmental side of this, does the board of directors have power over an elected official by the state who should outweigh their decision making?
That is a great question. I started challenging it, and then other things got in the way. But I think that
Which I understand, but at the same time, your citizens in your county are in danger because they cannot, the medical authority who is elected cannot enforce anything medically, which right now there's a plague outbreak. It's still ongoing, and that could kill a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely. I couple that with there's another thing while we're on this topic is we got, I don't even know, because I've tried to get this answer, and this is going to sound a little strange, right? I just want to understand it. In the latest meeting, I asked, there was a lot of talk about, I don't believe in ghosts and like supernatural shit, right? But there was a lot of that kind of talk. And, after hearing like, oh, the boogeyman, like, pestilence or Dr. Smith, there was like, oh yeah, he looks at you and you get sick. We don't know how to fight it. How do you fight something that's like magic? I felt like I was sitting in a reading for Harry Potter. And I was like, listen, I don't know about any of this hocus pocus shit, but, my question is, what are you guys going to do? As an option, and this is something that I've been trying to push forward, is like, there's humane labs, there's people that work at humane labs. Jason Todd, who is someone I know this because she helps with court center and other areas of my cabinet. Because she mentioned to me a while back, I've known for months, like 7 months now, that she works at humane labs alongside some others. She's like a scientist with like a PhD and all this kind of stuff. I was like, have you thought about like talking to her about her science stuff? Like, have you, like, is there, has there been any collaboration with scientists in the city? And it was kind of a lack of answer. Now, I can understand there's going to be some like reservations, right? Are they real scientists? Is it fake paperwork, et cetera, et cetera? But I'm sure there's like a means by which that can be validated.
Are there
right?
real scientists? Really? You can talk to somebody and find out. Plus, all the doctors should have some notation, even if it's not scientists. This is some type of biological issue, which scientists or not, the doctors here should be staffed with that. I was studying,
Yes.
I was a clownologist. I studied mimitis, which is an attack on a system for the clowns to turn them into mimes. These are things that the capabilities are at CMC. Yes.
Oh.
I have done mass research and created a whole field of study based around clown genetics.
See, this is blowing my mind.
Doctor. These are things that happened.
So this is blowing my mind because the way that meeting went, it sounds like you clearly know what you're talking about. That expertise does not exist in those meeting rooms. Like, the best I could say, all I heard out of there was, hey, hocus pocus, I think we're going to figure it out. And I'm like, what? How?
It's not hocus pocus. If he turns and looks at you and you get sick, it's obviously an aerial release infection.
Agreed.
That he has to be facing you. People are coughing and contracting the disease. It's not he looks at you. It's he turns in your direction and there's an aerial release of whatever he is contagious with. That for some reason, his body does not ever become non-contagious, or he has an aerial release system on him that he can conveniently extract in your direction.
Agreed. I mean, and I tried to point out some of that stuff. I'm like, viruses there's a lot of ways to administer it. Like, you just, it's, things have released out of labs. Like, how do we know this guy didn't just create this, like, well, I mean, it seems more obvious that this guy created some biological weapon, right? And he might have a bunch of administrative tools. Like, he might have a cane. He presses the cane. It's like shooting it in your direction, right? Like a burst of air. You're not going to see it, but you're certainly going to feel it after a while, right?
100%. And we know
he could give you a cup
have...
and it might have something on it, right? You don't notice it because it's so small.
There are
Oh, dear
so
Lord.
many. Oh,
Yep.
Yuri Popov. That's a mime. This
Yep.
is.
Yep. That's LSPD. Give it a moment.
Yep.
Oh.
But anyways, we have people that we know have contracted this, whether they are still infectious or contagious or not. The thing is, most situations, most medical situations, if it is
Marshals have
poisonous
gotten
or
so much
contagious,
better.
a lot of times there is some type of cure. And if we know these individuals, we can extract their blood willingly from them, hopefully, voluntarily, and we can test it at CMC to find out, or even humane labs alongside these scientists, alongside your doctors, to be able to find out if there is something different about their blood, or maybe even going into their bone marrow, to be able to attempt to find a cure for it.
Absolutely. May I introduce you to Jason? I think it'd be interesting for you to hear her thoughts.
I'd love to.
Are there any 10-8 units to do with
Want me
the
to bring
alleged
it down right now?
chatterbox of the Class 2 outside of Senior Burns?
Sorry, I can't hear you over him. What was that, Nino?
Yeah. Would you like me to bring it down right now?
That's up to you.
I swear.
Yeah. I think it'd be worth taking a look at something she presented
Hello?
on this. Jason, can you come down to the Marshal's office and bring the research stuff you were telling me about?
Oh, yes. I will have to go pick it up. I'm in Grapeseed at the moment, trying my hand at this sword in the stone.
Sword in the stone?
Yes. Princess has a sword in the stone, and she's inviting everybody to come try to pull it out.
Marshal Lee.
Oh, shit. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, are you
All
at
right.
Senior Buns
I'll
right
see you
now?
down here as soon as you're all sorted out. I'm here with two Marshals, and I was mentioning your research, and I think it'd be worthwhile sharing with them. Yep.
Okay, if you
Okay, great. Yeah, give me a few minutes, and I can be over there.
All right.
Turn the gun
Perfect.
in
See you in a bit.
and don't use
All
it on
right.
people.
Bye-bye.
All right. Oh.
What do you need it for,
Oh,
Chatterbox?
shit. I don't think I can hang up the phone. Oh, there we go.
No, there we go.
All right.
No. Okay.
All right.
Well, murder, killing, self-defense. You got to understand. Self-defense, makes sense, but that is not what a Class 2 is for. I would ask you turn it in.
I'm curious who hired them because something's been going right with the Marshals, and I don't know who.
$6,000.
But if it's again going well, then why is there a random director being chosen?
How about this, Chatterbox? You want to snit on the person that sold you that gun? Okay. I would much rather have a Class 2 off the streets. Bring it down to the Marshal's office, turn it in to me. For $6,000, sure. And you can give me a report of where you got it from.
Oh.
And then you are no longer running around with a Class 2. Okay.
Wait, that's Tien?
People called the cops on you, Chatterbox.
From Mayhem?
Chatterbox, are you surprised that someone called the cops that you're holding a Class 2 in a public area? Is that surprising to you? We will talk about that when you get down here. Okay, we will talk about that when you get down here. Okay. Bye-bye.
Who's doing hiring lately in the Marshals? Out of curiosity.
Well, there was a slowdown, and I pestered Weiss about it, and then Weiss gave full ability for Barrett and Dark to do whatever they need to do for hiring.
Yeah.
Because I guess they did not have that before.
Interesting. Okay.
So Barrett and Dark are kind of the end of the line. But a lot of us, we find folks as we're talking with people, civilians, different members of law enforcement, find people who have the mindset and that want to, how do I put this eloquently? Be okay with people being mad at you for pushing accountability in their general direction.
Yeah. I've noticed a lot of good in the last couple months. And I was just kind of curious who's been at the helm.
I mean, Barrett has been hard carrying. I'm gonna be honest. He's been hard carrying. Dark does a lot of work, and then everyone kind of pitches in where they can. But it is, I've been a part of what I feel like 3 different marshals departments at this point in time, from when I started to now. And to be honest, right now, I feel like we have the most direction, as well as there is a very genuine drive to push to solve things, and not just, get to the comfortable outcome, but get to the truth, or at least as close to the truth as we can get.
Hell yeah.
I don't feel like I'm kind of walking on the eggshells of throwing some ideas out there and being like, hey, I want to look into this because of this, and this, and kind of getting that.
Yeah, Barrett should be had.
Instead,
there's been a genuine
changes his outfit because he's got about an outfit for
you
everything.
can see like a genuine way of doing things, professionalism, etc. that these guys have. It's actually nuts. Yeah, there's been. I remember when you were LSPD. I remember from. I think I had just gotten elected. I want to say, right?
Yeah, had that crazy fellow putting out threats.
The guy with the bomb?
So descriptive.
Yep.
Yeah, holy
there was a day
fuck.
that there was active threats against Nino, and we weren't sure if they were credible or not. So I erred on the side of caution and spent some time just kind of posted up.
That was the guy that tried to plant a bomb at Senior Buns. Was it that one or?
I think so. I think he had a day.
Jesus. Jason's on the way down. She's also picking up one of her copies. It's I think they're working with Sama now. I'm not really, there are aspects. The whole plague thing is very. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna be honest.
Spooky stuff. You mentioned spooky things. If I show you a picture of an individual that a marshal took, how do I don't know how to say this without sounding out of my gourd.
Can you tell us how you think he looks?
No, well, so there's one of the marshals lives up in Polito, and
you talking about TJ Walker?
What does TJ Walker wear usually?
Yeah, okay.
I know
that son of a bitch fucking faked his death. I was absolutely triggered. I get in my boat. I'm like going upstream up to Polito, and my fucking it got really foggy. I couldn't see anything. And next thing you know, I'm kicking off like a rock and go flying onto that pier, the most northern pier, sort of like that's perpendicular with the gas station, the big gas station up there. And so now there's
the image.
Well, thank you. Now the boat is up on the side. Yeah, this son of a fucking bitch. I can't fucking believe it. It's fucking bullshit. I just don't get it. You know what I mean? I know that past administration's problems, but I don't know. It's either he faked his death or he's got someone pretending to be him or something.
Here's Chatterbox to turn over class 2 to me. Yep.
Yeah.
He's gonna snit on who gave it to him, and I'm gonna give him $6,000 to get a class 2 off the street because the cops are too busy to
Wendy
respond to.
Derpy Osvaldo.
What's up, Nino?
What's going on, gentlemen?
Osvaldo. Oh, Chatty.
Like my gun?
Do you want to know no, Chatterbox,
Chatty,
stop it.
my fucking
Stop it.
ear, Chatty.
I'm sorry.
No.
I thought he wanted me to prove it was real.
No, Chatterbox,
Oh,
I
it's
believe
ringing.
I believe it's a real gun. Will you please surrender that gun to me?
God, that hurts.
Do I have to surrender all the ammo too?
Yes, Chatterbox.
Ah, jeez. $6,000 down the toilet.
We don't have to
I'm so
surrender.
sorry.
We don't have to surrender.
I know it's frustrating. I know it's frustrating.
Sorry. There's
We're
everything.
supposed to all surrender a gun?
There's
I'm
everything.
supposed to
Wendy,
surrender
do
my
you have a
gun.
gun on you?
Wait a minute. What? It's
Hi,
Bernie.
Chatty. Hi.
Hey, I'm Wendy.
What is this?
Hello, Chatty. I guess you weren't
cop,
past
are
the
you?
news? No, I'm not a cop.
doctor?
I still have a medical degree. I technically still have a doctorate. But I'm a marshal now. I'm a certified snitch.
Oh, okay. Respect.
Oh, Chatty.
Oh, my, you better back up from Chatty.
know.
He's coughing a
So,
lot. I'm using the
James
cough as
Kelly
defense.
sold me that because I couldn't afford to get that much ammo and clips and the gun. So he gave me a discount at $6,000 for all those clips, the gun, and all that extra ammo. And to be fair, I shot about another 100 bullets.
Okay, Chatterbox. All right. Well,
How you doing, Twinkles?
do you have a financier that is the person that you would want your reimbursement delivered to? I don't have the cash on me at this exact moment in time.
Wendy.
Okay.
Wendy, I have
All right.
money.
Yo,
Okay, Wendy, if you would, please, I'm going to put my, here's
You
my
didn't
card.
tell Chatty?
No.
Oh, by the way, James
There's my card
Kelly
if you don't have my number already.
is also trying to set up an
Text me
SMG
your bank
deal.
number.
All right.
Setting
My
up
number's
with
in the lemon
who?
list
With
if
you,
just want
Chatty?
to call it.
They want to sell us SMGs for our war. We're going to go to war with the mimes and all
It'll be
Wait,
Wendy with
James-
100 Ys.
wait.
That's me. Yes.
We
My
don't
phone
really
is
Alright.
on silent.
shoot
James
big guns
Kelly.
Like that. It'd be a waste of money.
What's your name?
What do you mean?
Marshal
I
Lee.
thought you were already in a
I'm the
war
one that
with
gave you the
mimes,
hat.
Chatty.
Isn't
you
that
Yeah, but like,
Yeah, that's what I
fucking,
thought.
Like,
Yep.
things are turning it up.
shit? Oh my
Is it
god.
really that
I
bad?
wrote you down as Marshal Lee.
I murdered
That's
4
Yep.
in the last month.
Just
What?
text me over.
Chatty!
Chatter.
Their bodies
lying.
in the quarry.
No, he's lying.
I told you to feed them to the
Mama.
cows for the protein.
I don't want to
Why
feed
would
cows
Hey,
painted
you
meat.
might not be lying.
That's fair. You know what? That's fair. Thank you.
But you guys have carnivorous
Cows
cows.
don't moo
No,
anymore.
no, we don't. No, we don't.
What's carnivorous?
It means they eat people.
No, they
Or
don't. No, they don't.
meat.
I plead the fifth. Thank you.
This isn't court,
Hey,
Wendy.
don't touch my cows! Don't touch my cows! They don't do anything. They didn't do anything wrong. You can't have Utterbox.
Look, I
Wait.
surrendered the gun.
Wait, what the hell is Utterbox?
Oh, jeez.
I have a couple new babies. One's Utterbox, one's Moombles, and one's Happy to Cow. Thank you. Bye.
Are you dressing
Thanks,
your friends
Wendy.
up like cows?
No, they have actual cows at up in Grapeseed.
What in the hell?
Jesus.
So yeah. Apparently there's
Wow.
4 mine bodies at the quarry. I would tell PD, but they're not going to do anything about it.
Quangle, are you
No,
on free?
probably not.
I got Osvaldo Pingafria in a clown vehicle heading westbound Innocence, just passing the hospital. If y'all still looking for him, he is out and about. Hey, Firm, if you want to assemble you a team, he is awake. There's a whole group of clowns rolling around in one of their big vans right now.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, is it next to City Hall?
Chatterbox
Yeah,
had a
next to
hunting
City Hall,
rifle.
the,
He turned it over to
Okay.
The building right next to it.
the person who sold it to him.
Perfect. I will be there in just a minute then.
Easy. See you in a sec.
Thank you.
Oh, and
Bye-bye.
apparently that same person also has SMGs. They were trying to make a deal
Yeah,
with
well,
Chatty, who
yeah,
said
well,
no.
Yeah, well, that's a
Jesus.
terrifying thought. Chatterbox with SMGs.
Oh
He said
my
it's a waste
god.
of money to
Huh.
shoot good guns like that.
Because they're mimes or because he doesn't want to shoot a gun like that?
Probably because they're mimes.
Oh my god. Jesus.
Apparently the war's about to get worse, so. I like how I told Pockets knew I was. No, Pockets didn't know, but Twinkles knew I was putting in for Marshals. I guess Twinkles told nobody.
Oh
What's
my
crazy
god.
is when I run the identifier on this gun, the hunting rifle belongs to Chatterbox.
Did he buy his own gun?
Oh my god.
Hold on.
I wonder if he got
I think he
convinced
just-
that was like a dealer or something, you know, over by the hunting lodge.
Yeah, maybe. Ask him if he bought it up near Polito. Oh, Lord.
Oh wait, let me hit him up. Sorry, just wrapping up.
Watch, this is an old number.
He's in a limit list. No, I look at it from the standpoint of Chatterbox without a firearm running around is a safer Los Santos. So PD could not respond to him, and instead of this turning into a whole debacle and him shooting people, we just get him to turn the gun in.
Oh my god. Hey, I think it worked out, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to what's the end goal? Is it to punish, or is it to try to make things a little safer and work within the means you have
Did
at that
he
moment in time?
crash and knock himself out?
Probably.
He's not answering.
He might have. I mean, there's about 10 other people in that van, so.
Oh no, I'm calling.
Could you imagine just the noise inside that damn thing? Just everybody jammering on at the same time.
Hi, Wendy. Hi. Could you?
You know that photo you sent me. This was around the area I ended up crashing. A boat.
Oh,
Same pier.
you're the ones who helped me earlier. Thank you.
Oh, howdy. Yeah. Good to see you upright.
Okay,
Wait,
Give her
what the
just a moment.
fuck?
We had a chatterbox.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, some.
Oh
Wait,
no,
what?
not again.
Well, no, it's. I mean, chatterbox being chatterbox to the nth degree. But he's kind of just like a unsupervised toddler, and you just dangle the right set of keys, and you can kind of change him in different directions.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Hey, how you doing, Jason? You doing, Danger?
Doing great. How are you?
Good.
Not too bad. We were talking plague related things, and I was like, hey, this is a great opportunity to introduce Jason. And
I appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah, of course.
Well, I mean, as far as where you guys are at with it,
Well, I'm gonna be just clear. The plague stuff ain't my department. It's more. She's former medical doctor. Me personally, I have avoided the plague like the plague when it comes to a lot of the documentation, because I think my Mimo would smack me upside the head silly if I tried to convince some of the things I've read is real. So it's one of those more. There are plenty of very concrete, very not spooky problems to deal with right now, and those are the ones that have my attention.
Mm.
okay. I got you. I got you.
Crystal, can you wrap that up, please? They're waiting on you.
So,
Wait,
nice weather out
wait,
there, huh?
that's Crystal.
Yeah.
That's not what's her
Pretty
name.
good. Pretty good.
I do have some light reading if you'd like to start looking it over.
Sure.
I've only got one copy at the moment. If I need to make additional copies, I can do that.
Okay, this is.
Okay, well, I just wanted to give you that information. Thank you. Bye.
This is something. Holy cow!
Yeah.
Here, Crystal.
So,
And I have
Hello.
shared that with Chief
Well, I
Turner,
cannot hand that to
Dr.
you.
Perry,
That's okay.
Mayor Princess, Mayor Nino. So I believe everybody's had the chance to look at it. I let Princess know if the sheriff needs a copy to let me know. She hasn't reached out for another copy, so.
So I take it you're approaching this illness from the scientifically minded approach versus.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Jason, could you give them like a full like what is it that you're doing? How did you get involved? How are the conversations going? Like previously, today, etc. So, they have sort
Most
of like full of
definitely.
context.
Yes. So I started working on the black vein fever probably about 3 months ago. I was just given information on it and became very curious, started doing some research on it. About 2 weeks ago is when we were able to finally run our samples through the electron microscope, and that is the results in the book there. Like I said, if you need additional copies, just let me know. Those have also been shared with all relevant parties now. I'm sure I'm forgetting something.
where do you work? What's your title? The credentials, all that kind of, you know. Ooh.
This is the Humane Labs handbook. I am the director of Humane Labs, so I am overseeing research that is being conducted there.
Okay.
Charles here is our head of security.
Me, I'm with Charles.
Pleasure. Interesting.
Have you shown them the book, Jason? Or is that what they're looking
That's what
at
I
now?
just handed them. Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
Medical nanobots. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, you know the in the Marvel Cinematic Universe how Iron Man suits up?
Mhm.
That stuff. But obviously that's just if I'm being a kid. In a reality stance, it's more sophisticated.
Wait, I thought it was like plates of armor, not like little bits here and there.
I mean that's the sophisticated part of it. I mean, I'm just security. That's her field of work. I was thinking about it in a cool Marvel way.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. Maybe one day though, I'll be Iron Man.
Now, the medical nanobots would be small devices released inside somebody's body to be able to then do microscopic type medical necessities, either surgeries or administering different types of timed release medicines, depending on the situation.
When I first heard about the virus, I wanted to make sure that the nanites were not associated as part of the calls. And that is something we were able to verify in that first book I gave you,
Mm-hmm.
that they are two separate entities.
Alrighty, there's your handbook back. Unfortunately, I do
Oh,
not
yeah,
have the ability
you can
to
keep it if
hand
you'd
these
like, or I can take it back.
down. I mean, if you'd
Yeah,
like
it's
me
like
to
a
keep it, I
brochure
can
kind of.
make
I
sure
would
that the
definitely.
marshals have it or not, but would pass that on to Bert and Dark as well if they don't have one already.
So, do you have images of what your nanobots look like when they're injected into somebody? And the type of what you see in the blood system?
So in the first book,
Because you have the black liquid and you have Smith virus.
in the first book, in sample 3, they weren't injected into somebody. We just took a healthy blood sample and mixed them together, and that is sample 3.
Okay.
And they are acting normal. They're just kind of hanging out. That is what we would expect to see.
Why is the rain so loud? Well, I think it's important
But
to
they can
get.
be infected with the Smith virus. Do you know what happens outside of the general appearance of them when the Smith virus is introduced with black liquid?
We are still researching that.
Okay. And the black vein fever outside of this image, it looks like an attachment or an overtaking of blood cells. Like,
Yes.
I don't really see the blood cells surrounding it in this imagery to be able to compare, but what exactly does this do? Is this a separate alongside? Does it take over certain cells inside of the blood?
At this point, we're able to say like they attack the red blood cell.
Okay.
We don't have any conclusive data on if any other cells are affected by it.
Okay. Do you know if it compromises the rest of the immune system or just specifically attaches to blood?
Just the blood.
Okay. Do you see individuals, their bodies trying to fend and fight these off, or does it generally just take over and the body accepts its existence inside of it?
I love shit like this. It's exciting.
I haven't done enough research into that question. From what I've been able to observe around the city, people have a negative effect to the virus. You'll see them coughing, unable to catch their breath at times. But there is no, to my knowledge, no way to determine what long-term effects are. I have been told by the doctors at the hospital that the reason it has been given the name black vein fever is later stages of the process of the disease. I've not been able to observe that at this point, so I cannot confirm that information.
Okay, so supposedly CMC has stated further along process, but no denotation of how long in the process that individuals' veins become blackened from an exterior viewpoint or an interior viewpoint.
The meeting we were in was disrupted before they were able to go into those details.
Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not introduce myself. Hi, I'm Marshal Crystal Bordier, MD. I used to be a doctor at CMC till I was tired of their internal corruption back in the day. I am the lead clownologist of the state and created the field of study of clownology. I'm also known as the Clown Doctor, or Dr. Stitches.
Nice to meet you.
Oh.
I am Jason.
I do have a copy of the announcement. I'll read it out loud for everybody. It says the San Andreas Medical Group is seeking BVF patients for clinical trials. We aim to gather data, ease symptoms, and move closer to a potential cure. Participants will receive monitored care and early access to experimental treatments. If you or someone you know is affected, contact a SAMG doctor. Help us fight BVF. Your participation will make all the difference. Oh, I could. Okay. I think there was another announcement too. That actually, yeah.
I'm unsure if it was just a copy and pasted one, but there definitely was another one.
Yeah, I think it went into highlighting that
detail. Yeah.
Yeah. Though I'm gonna be honest, like the days and information is blurring for me at this point. The amount of shit that's been going on. So
usually things are in one ear and out the other with a lot of stuff happening right
oh
now.
my god, yeah.
So it's difficult to keep track.
Yeah. It's like trying to hold on to sand, you know?
I have one eye. It's difficult enough.
Jesus.
No, I'm definitely very curious into this regard, as it is a threat to the entire state, government entities, civilian bodies, all of that as well. As on the medical side of it, definitely intrigued, as I did a lot of studying into myelitis back in the day.
I do need to get to going. I'll let you guys to it. I would love to continue this sort of area of conversation, because going back to the beginning part of this conversation is that I do think that some form of procedure does need to exist, because there is a fear in the back of my mind that something happens. Could be today, could be a week, could be a year from now, where we need something in place that if right now something were to happen, we need a way to handle it.
It would basically be martial law right now at this point.
1,000%. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the scary thing is state of emergency is not even fully defined in legislation. It's just kind of open to interpretation. So it's
that's half the things in the state.
All right. Y'all stay safe, yeah?
Nino.
Thank you, Nino.
Take care, Nino.
Take care.
I'm gonna step away for a moment. Put this gun up in the video.
Yo, that was really enjoyable. Damn. That was that was dope.